It happened that night after Cordell had put us to bed.
Oh, after he put you to bed, you had sex again?
Yeah.
When you do your neck like that, that means you up to something.
Yes.
Okay. But wait, I want to understand this. Did you or did you not have protected sex with Ms.
I had
Ware?
protected sex, Your Honor.
And you say, Ms. Ware, he did not. You all did not use protection.
No, we did not.
After 20 years, Ms. Jackson has reappeared in Mr. Figures' life to prove that he is the father of her son, Daniel. While Mr. Figures still remembers the good times they had back then, he is certain they didn't make a child together.
So the bottom line, you all did have a sexual relationship, right?
Yes, we did.
So, Mr. Figures, you acknowledge that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You did. Did you use protection? Were you guys using protection at the time?
Well, no, ma'am.
Not using protection.
We didn't.
No.
All right.
The best thing about this case is that they both seem to be on the same page. They have similar recollections of their relationship, even though it was 2 decades ago. And they both acknowledge that they didn't use protection. But there's one thing they don't agree on: Ms. Jackson's relationships with other men.
Getting into the moment of...
The moment.
Yeah. She calls my name twice. Third time, she called his name.
Oh.
Now, I admit I didn't stop because we was in the middle of handling the but,
It's lying.
but,
It is so lying.
really? And to this day, she'll say she doesn't remember that.
It doesn't seem like Mr. Figures has concrete proof that Ms. Jackson was with other guys when they were together. While calling another guy's name during sex is suspicious, it's not proof that she had something going on with him.
Put it like this. If this man, because I can get in contact with him at any time, if he knew that this
no
was his
sex,
child, why would I be doing this after 20 years? You know what I'm saying?
'Cause maybe
if
you
you
don't
look
know.
at my son and look at this man, it's no way in God's green earth that anybody could ever think that this other man is his.
Come on,
I know.
At this point, I feel bad for the 20-year-old standing there listening to his mom and potential dad squabble back and forth. Mr. Figures insists that the man who's been present in Ms. Jackson's life since she had the baby is the boy's father. But Ms. Jackson makes a really good point saying if that were true, why would she be pinning the paternity of her son on him? A man who doesn't want to be his father.
Your Honor, I have other children, and they dad come into their life. They come in, they take them places, they go here, they go there. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been me and him. He don't have nobody. I'm all he has, and he is all I have.
When two people mess around like Mr. Figures and Ms. Jackson did, it's their kids that get to bear the brunt of it. Ms. Jackson has other children, and from the way she explains it, it seems like they are for multiple men. Daniel's case is only worse because he doesn't have his father in his life like the rest of them do.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I've been like this. We don't talk about this at all in my house. That's why I don't talk about it. I don't think about it. And that's it. The only person I really see as my father, because he's been there, is my youngest brother and father, because I have memories with him. Other than that,
Daniel doesn't know what it's like to have a father at the age of 20, and he's okay with it because it's all he has known. But it's sad still that everyone around him has a father, his siblings and friends, and he's forced himself to be nonchalant about needing one.
Come on, man. Come on. Look at that boy.
Well,
It's a side-by-side picture
Really?
of Daniil on the left and Mr. Figures on the right.
Wow. Wow.
Ms. Jackson has done a good job in raising her son, and she wants Mr. Figures to know that. The only reason she needs him to acknowledge Daniel's paternity is so that the boy knows who his father is, in case something were to happen to her. She doesn't want her boy to be alone in this world.
I mean, I have other kids, and I respect and understand what's been going on over here, and he should know. You know, I don't want to take that from him, especially any longer. It has been a while, and like I said, I'm not running from him because I didn't have to be here.
Right. Thank you for being here.
Well,
There's only one thing left to do now. Has Mr. Figures lost 20 years of his son's life or not? Let's see what the DNA results say.
Mr. Figures, you are not the father.
Oh my God.
20 years, huh? For this. I hope you find that, because everybody should know who their people are. My dad wasn't there for me either.
Ms. Wilson is in a paternity triangle with two cousins, Mr. Nicola and Mr. Eddie, who grew up as brothers. Both men believe they are the father of her 10-month-old son. Let's take a look.
You've always believed Errol is your biological son, and you are here to prove that today because your whole family has come to love him as yours. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Eddie, you admit to sleeping with your cousin's fiance.
Okay, this is one serious dilemma. Not only did Ms. Wilson cheat on her fiancé, she cheated on him with his cousin who could as well have been his brother. Isn't that wild? And we couldn't agree more with Judge Lauren. The baby's appearance will prove nothing in this case. DNA is the only conclusive evidence they've got. Let's see if Ms. Wilson has anything to say in her defense.
I messed up. I made a mistake. I'm here today to figure it out. I don't want the family feud going on anymore, and me exactly in the middle of it, my child in the middle of it. One night, there was a family get-together. There was alcohol involved. Cordell had been tired from work that day. He had work the next day, and he didn't want to drink. We had all gotten hot inside. Nathan and I went outside.
It's nice that Ms. Wilson and Mr. Eddie regret their affair, but it was nasty and careless on their part. Cheating on your man with his cousin while he slept in the same house is just insensitive.
Mr. Nicola, they admittedly kept it a secret. What was your recollection of that night?
I came home from work. I dozed off on the couch, woke up. They were all outside. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I went out and told them it was time to come in because it was getting late. And I came in, I put everybody to bed,
Who would think his girl and cousin would sleep together at a family gathering? Definitely not Mr. Nicola, who believed he was in a stable relationship with a woman he trusted and who had been tired after a long day of work. That would have been the last thing on his mind that night. The man just wanted to have a good sleep.
It happened that night after Cordell had put us to bed.
Oh, after he put you to bed, you had sex again?
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow.
We are just as shocked as Judge Lauren and the audience are. Maybe, just maybe, we could accept that the first time was a mistake, but the second? That was as intentional could be. That was pure disregard from Mr. Nicola.
I just really want
You said you just really want...
Arrow to be mine.
Oh. The consequences, right? Isn't that one of the most important lessons we learn in life?
Seems like Mr. Nicola is the biggest victim here. Imagine being lied to by two people you love about something as important as a baby. This man has been there since the beginning of the child's life, and now there's a question hanging over his head whether the child belongs to him or not.
Your Honor, that's why we're here today. I messed up. I made a big mistake, and I really ruined a family. And I'm gonna be the first to call myself out because it wasn't right. And I just wanna figure it out. I know somebody's gonna get hurt today, and I'm sorry to everyone involved. But I just wanna get the story ended.
Of course you made a mistake, ma'am. What did you think was going to happen when you had unprotected sex with your partner's cousin? You thought you could easily sweep it under the carpet and pretend it never happened? Of course, it was going to ruin the family. Imagine how the twin sisters feel knowing that their sons are fighting over the paternity of a child. Things must be really rocky on the family group chat.
Gives you a conception date around October 7th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which would point to Mr. Eddie. But because you just said you were intimate with Mr. Nicola 2 or so days before, we're still in the window.
This case is so complex that determining the child's father is impossible without DNA results. The men were birthed by identical twins, and Ms. Wilson slept with both of them within the span of 3 days. So the doctor's prediction of the conception date doesn't guarantee anything either.
She's one of the identical twins. And Miss McCartney sent this statement: Cordell's the dad. He's been dad since day one, and I've been grandma since day one. I'll continue to be grandma either way. So your mother's developed a significant bond with Arrow as well.
It's clear that the twin sisters, much like their sons, have clashed over the paternity issue. Mr. Eddie's mom is confident the baby's his. Mr. Nicola's mother also believes her son is the father of the child, but if he is not, she knows she'll still be in the baby's life as a grandma. After all, your sibling's baby is yours, right? That's easy to believe until you find yourself in Mr. Nicola and Mr. Eddie's shoes, being asked that question in a very literal sense.
So Mr. Eddie, your mother also submitted a statement to the court. She's the other identical twin. She says, I believe my son is Arrow's father. When she took the pregnancy test, I was the first one her and Nathan showed it to.
These people have taken the term family affair to a whole new level. The aunt Mr. Eddie is in court with is also Mr. Nicola's aunt, and she's on both their sides. Her major issue is with Ms. Wilson, who goes around telling both men that they are the father of the child and refused to take the DNA test Mr. Eddie's mom asked her to.
So, Miss Endicott, you are Mr. Eddie's aunt.
And Cordell's.
And Cordell's aunt.
Yep.
Okay, so you're another sibling, but just not the twins.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm the little sister.
You're the little sister.
Yeah.
What do you know about this man?
I do know that she tells Nathan all the time, "You're the daddy." Then she'll go back to Cordell and say, "You're the daddy."
Isn't this just messed up? Ms. Wilson choosing who the father of her child is, as though it's some casting procedure for a movie role. She put Mr. Nicola on the child's birth certificate because he was the best fit for a father, but she still kept telling Mr. Eddie the child was his. Is that how it's done now?
Was that because he was with you or because you all made a decision? Was it a three-way consultation?
No, Your Honor. He was there at the birth, and I feel like Nathan wasn't even ready if it was his own son because he didn't have a job. He didn't have a vehicle. He still lived with his parents, his aunt, somebody.
This is so sad because you can tell that the two men love each other. It's clear how much Mr. Eddie wishes he wasn't caught up in this drama. And Mr. Nicola's emotions are also very valid. As Judge Lauren says, this is a family divided, all thanks to a not-so-little drunken mistake.
You would like to say?
I'm sorry for what I did to you.
Well, we'll never know if they reconciled. What we do know are the results of the DNA tests. Let's find out which of the cousins Ms. Wilson's baby belongs to.
The biological father is Mr. Nicola.
Mr. Rajat and his wife, Ms. King Rajat, both suspect the other of infidelity. They are in court today not only to determine the paternity of their 2-year-old daughter, Destiny, but also to take lie detector tests to expose which of them is lying.
I'm here today to prove to my husband that our daughter Destiny is in fact his. He denies her.
What does he do specifically?
He doesn't interact with her.
The case has barely begun, and they're already arguing about who's telling the truth and who's lying. We can now see the need for the lie detector test. If Ms. King Rajata is being honest, it means that Destiny, the poor baby, has been bearing the brunt of her parents' insecurities.
You know, all of my family and her family all have brown hair and brown eyes. Put a diagram together of that for you.
You
to
have a
take look at.
diagram?
Yes.
Jerome, can you get that, please?
Sure.
You're such a fool.
You're a liar.
We're starting to see where Mr. Rajati's doubts stem from. Destiny doesn't look like the rest of the family. He's made a family tree to prove that. In addition, he believes she was conceived when he was away on a family trip.
And I was out for a week and she got pregnant. Well, we only had sex one time.
You're saying is it was a week's time and she knew within a week she was pregnant?
It was 2 months into the pregnancy before I found out I was pregnant.
Ms. King Rajat seems pretty sure that Destiny is her husband's child and is boldly telling the court that she has never been unfaithful throughout her marriage. The big question now is, why does her husband believe otherwise?
Up with, you know, and I knew more than half of my life, just like I've known her. One time we was at a bar and she had actually sent a text to his phone
Lie.
while I was with him saying that they had planned to meet up and go out.
Interesting indeed. It seems this couple can't agree on anything. Judge Lauren is confused, the audience is confused, and we're confused. Who is telling the truth?
I did in fact tell him that I was talking to somebody that I had seen.
You
Thank
stayed
you.
out all
Anyways,
night that night.
we went
I
out
called
to
your
dinner.
phone over and over,
We
and you
went
stayed out
to
all
dinner,
night that night.
but I
Didn't get
did
to
not
hear
do anything because unlike you, I love my husband and I've been faithful.
According to Ms. Kim Grajata, her husband insists she's having an affair only to make himself feel better about his infidelity. She says he chooses to believe versions of the truth that suit him, like assuming her dinner with an old friend was more than just that.
I was 6 months pregnant with our first child. I went to the doctor for a routine checkup because I have an STD. And if I'm not cheating, where else did I get it from?
I don't know. I was calling your phone all night. You're the one not answering.
You're the one that's gonna see.
Okay, this is getting really interesting. Mr. Rajat is hiding something and is trying to shift all the attention to his wife. He says if the child isn't his, he's going to end his 16-year-long relationship with his wife without blinking twice. What a guy, huh?
In the past, I have.
As a matter of fact, there's a possibility he has a child by this dirty, nasty little troll.
That's not true, Your Honor. I've been with this same woman for half of my life. She says that I've retracted the mommy syndrome.
Having a child with another woman would certainly add another layer to the story. But honestly, it's already complicated enough. And we still don't have any clear truths about their relationship, as each person keeps disputing the other.
More than half my life, since I was 15 years old.
Dirty, nasty, like I said.
After we had our first child, then she started gaining weight and I started losing my affection in our relationship.
Mr. Rajot, now wait a minute.
So now it's about her weight. Mr. Rajat says he started losing affection for her when she started gaining weight, and because of this, he thought it was okay to look for it somewhere else, outside his marriage.
Because that's the only time it ever matters to you.
I just hope that these tests and everything come back good today.
The results of the lie detector test and the paternity test are in.
Should these two really be together despite the result of the paternity test? It seems that love and trust were lost somewhere during their 15 years together. Anyway, let's find out what the results say.
Mr. Rajot, you are her father. What are you feeling right now?
I'm just mad because he's denied our child for so long. And I knew, because I'm not nasty.
A month after signing Sophia's birth certificate, Mr. Fisher's fiancée drops the bomb that he may not be Sophia's father. He is in court today to find out if he made the biggest mistake of his life by signing that certificate.
I love Brittany and I love Sophia to death. They're my world, but she lied to me. She kept the truth from me and it kills me.
So you say you love her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me what you feel?
Sorrow, pain.
Mr. Fisher never, for one day, thought to question Sophia's paternity. And all of a sudden, it was brought to his notice that there was a possibility the baby he had come to cherish wasn't his. It's only right that he feels this way right now. Who wouldn't?
I think that he is the father. I know 100%. I mean, he was there through the whole pregnancy, and he does everything for me. He works, he supports our family. He rubs my back and rubs my feet. He's a great father.
He is all of these things, yet you cheated? What on earth is wrong with this woman? You love him, and he's an amazing fiancé now. He's an amazing dad too, yet you messed up. Let's find out if there's a reason why.
Had texted me, and so I was hurt. And so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. And he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So I go back to his camper with him.
Oh, wow, this is terrible. Couples need to learn that revenge sex is never a good idea. Because Ms. Doyle thought Mr. Fisher was cheating, she went ahead to do the same thing. Look what this led to. It must have broken him to find out that this was why she cheated.
And you knew nothing about this until after Sophia was born.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can see how much that hurts you.
A lot.
So can you take me to the day you found out Ms. Doyle was pregnant? Take me to that day.
The day that I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick.
It's getting pretty emotional in here, isn't it? Mr. Fisher's pain is so palpable that it's hard not to feel sympathy for him. Ms. Doyle, too, is clearly torn. She desperately wants him to be the father, but also knows that there's nothing they can do to change it if he isn't.
I kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything, because I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days.
Mr. Fisher had proposed to Ms. Doyle after he learned she was pregnant. He was excited to start a family with her. During Sophie's birth, he held her hand, and after, stayed with them in the hospital for 3 days. Now, all those beautiful moments have been shattered, and he can't help but wonder if all his dreams have been reduced to ashes.
Prepared yourself, Mr. Fisher? Have you said, let me just think about how I will behave, how I will take my next step if I'm not Sophia's biological father?
Even though Mr. Fisher claims he will take care of Sophia if it turns out she isn't his, we all know it would break him and take him a long, long time to get over it. We can only hope for his sake that she is his. But in the end, it's the results that will tell us the truth.
She's yours, then I hope that...
Let me tell you this. You ain't got to be guilty about it no more. Just don't hold it on me no more. That's my baby no matter what. And you're my wife. I love you.
Yes, he is. Not many men would handle this situation the way he has. He deserves the Fiancé of the Year award. Let's see if he's getting the Dad award too. The DNA results are in.
Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Mr. Wilson believes that Ms. Weir is pinning the paternity of her son on him because she has run out of available options and he is the only choice she has left. But Ms. Weir disagrees.
Probably like 8 years ago, just, passing through the city. We would hang out with each other, potluck, he cooked something, I cooked something, bring it over to his house, or he'd come over to my house,
Wait, what? This seems like it's going to be a unique case. Even Judge Lauren was shocked by that piece of information. So Mr. Wilson went from the gay best friend to the baby daddy. That's some interesting switch right there.
I had called him over, I was bored, I was home alone, I was like, you wanna come over, give him some drinks, told him.
When you do your neck like that, that means you up to something.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Weir has everyone laughing in court at the tale of how their relationship became sexual, and it is funny. What do you mean he may think he's gay? So all the while, she pretended to be his bestie. She secretly had feelings for him. We must admit, this is a spicy story.
Yes, Your Honor. I just thought we were just gonna be chilling, like we always do, watch TV, drink, just do what we normally do. She kind of seduced me.
She seduced you how?
Basically, after she got me drunk, she kind of started filling up on me and stuff, so. And then,
Okay, Mr. Wilson. That's a lot of details. In summary, Ms. Weir successfully seduced her gay best friend, and years later, here they are, trying to figure out if her son is a product of that, shall we say, successful project.
Did you use protection that night?
Yes, Your Honor, I used the condom.
Mr. Wilson.
We're not.
Mr. Wilson, you did not.
I'm not gonna go there.
You did not.
Your Honor. I used the condom.
Your Honor,
I know what I put on me.
Use no condom.
I know what I put on me, Your Honor. She's done tested multiple people. She's just trying to pin the child on me. I love her and all because my godson, but.
First, what did she mean by he's the only person left? Mrs. Weir has had several men tested, and since they've all come out negative, she believes it has to be Mr. Wilson. Also, the fact that they have different recollections about Mr. Wilson using protection that night makes it seem like one of them is lying.
Were you dating other men at that time?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Were you sexually active with the other men?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Were you using protection with those men?
Some I was.
Some?
Wow.
How many other men?
A lot of them, Your Honor. She don't even know.
How many? Say it loud and proud. You said you're a confident woman.
3.
With 3 sexual partners already in the bag, Miss Weir still wanted her gay friend on that list. This so-called confidence she has is called promiscuity. How do you juggle 4 sexual partners at a time? Here she is now, wondering about her child's paternity.
We've now had accounts of 2 different men she was dating at the time.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they've both not been the father after DNA testing. Both of them. What do you think? I mean, you're saying you can't be the father, but she's had the DNA test with the 2 other men, and they've been...
So, Ms. Weir is a customer at the DNA clinic, and Mr. Wilson's is the last sample to be taken there. We already know that. But his insistence on not being the father is pretty confusing, though. If every other potential father has been eliminated, why does he still insist he's not the one?
Mr. Wilson, you know for certain that there were more men besides the 3?
Yes, Your Honor, because like I said, we've been friends for a long time.
There was only 4. There was
no,
only
Your Honor,
4.
it was more than that, Your Honor. She's done told me multiple things over the years.
Mr. Wilson, please don't sit here and try to make it seem like something that it's not.
The only thing more amusing than the whole situation is how Mr. Wilson and Ms. Weir address each other so formally. What's with that, besties? Mr. Wilson believes that if the child was his, he would look just like him because he has strong genes. Okay, mister. It doesn't work that way.
All I ask is for him to move back. That's all I ask.
I'm not moving back,
Just
Your
move
Honor.
back.
Yeah.
I just need for him to help me. If it's a place to stay that he needs, he can come stay with us. He can still do what he do. I wouldn't care. But my child, he deserves that much. He needs a father in his life.
There's only one way to end this drama, to reveal the results. Let's find out if Mr. Wilson is the father of Ms. Weir's son.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry, and I don't want to be the bad guy or nothing. I love her.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks believes that the only reason Ms. Saavedra is contesting the paternity of her child, Javier, is because she wants him out of the picture and wants to be with another man. Confirming the child's paternity is very important to him, and here is why.
Well, Your Honor, I grew up in the streets of Detroit,
and I just want to make sure that my son doesn't have to grow up like I did. And
that's a beautiful basket there. You brought that for your son once you prove your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
He seems like a great guy, with the basket of toys and all. Growing up without a father, it's only right that he doesn't want his son to grow up the way he did. That's if Javier is his son, of course. Now, let's hear from Ms. Saavedra why he might not be Javier's dad.
The man that I believe is Javier's father, Maurice, was getting rocky. We decided to include Greg in our mix and try and spice things up.
Did he just say 10 years? You can hear the gasp from the audience and see the shock on Judge Lauren's face. Are we gonna call that a throuple or what? And get this, the third person in this thing they had going on was Mr. Kendricks's cousin. Isn't that crazy? Let's find out more.
You were dating a woman, you ended up sleeping with her roommate, and then she asked you to introduce her to somebody, so you introduced her to your cousin.
Yes, ma'am.
But then...
Yes, Your Honor.
Their dynamic is so complicated. Although they've never been an actual couple, it certainly feels like they have been. They've both played a role in each other's relationships, completing the threesome for the other's partner, and have even cheated on their respective partners with each other. Yet, despite all this, they've never actually dated. What is going on in the world?
That's when the unprotected happened. I was trying.
I'm blown away. What in the world is this?
Like the times we had threesomes, I was trying to respect him and wear a condom, but I kind of liked her, you know, from the first time I had seen her and stuff.
These two have left Judge Lauren speechless with their nasty stories. It's truly sad that Javier is the product of such a messy situation, where grown adults are making a mockery of themselves, because that's exactly what Mr. Kendricks and Ms. Saavedra are doing.
Like I said, off and on, before the first child was even born, like, we was having threesomes.
So you're saying these threesomes were a regular thing?
Yeah, if it wasn't every weekend, it was like every other weekend.
Now, there's another child involved, one from Ms. Saavedra and her boyfriend. It seems that Mr. Kendricks is now suggesting that the first child might also be his, given that the threesomes started before the child was born and were happening regularly. As for Javier, he and Ms. Saavedra had been engaging in sexual relations outside of the threesomes. See? Too complicated.
Maurice. Your cousin, Maurice.
Your Honor, he even thought I was
It says, last year, Mercedes and I got into it because she thought I was having sex with another woman, which I wasn't. In retaliation, she had sex with my cousin Greg with no rubber.
It seems that everyone believes Javier is Mr. Kendricks' son, except for Ms. Saavedra. Mr. Kendricks thinks the reason she doesn't want to admit it is because she wants both of her children to have the same father. At the same time, she didn't list any father's name on Javier's birth certificate. Doesn't that suggest that she's not as sure about the paternity as she claims to be?
Introduced them to each other.
And then that gives you a reserved right to sleep with her? What? I don't understand that.
I was sleeping with her first.
Is this what we doing out here? I missed something.
They are acting like this situation is the most normal thing in the world. Like it's okay to have a threesome with your cousin and have an affair with his girlfriend, as if it's justified because you introduced her to him and knew her first. Newsflash, Mr. Kendricks, this is not normal.
Here to try to help you sort it out, because no matter what these test results say, if you don't get an understanding of why you do what you do, you're gonna keep doing it. And now, we're in a position right now where we need to find out if your children are siblings or if they're siblings and cousins.
Well, the judge has spoken. The results are in. It's time to find out whose son Javier is.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, you are not the father. I can see that really disappointed you. You thought you were.
Yeah, Your Honor. You know, I tried to step up to the plate, you know, because I ain't have a father.